So to get started with it, basically, I thought I'd just give you a really quick rundown. I know we may take it elementary at first, even though some of you guys are probably already using like FT8, a lot of those different modes. But I thought we may do like a little series on this, and with it being recorded, the benefit is we could share it with the new club members later on and stuff like that too. So that way we have multiple options on it. But just a really quick rundown, most digital modes use a sound card type device or like a TNC, something like that, to take the computer's audio and transmit it through the radio. So that's basically all we're doing is taking computer noise and making it go through a microphone, and then the received noise, computer sounds coming back in and going over, uh, being interpreted by the computer. So, and I wanted to show you a few options there of different things. Now, uh, back in the day, we called them TNCs, terminal node controllers. You'll see that you mentioned a lot with like Packet and APRS. But just to give you an example of a lot of what we're doing now is driven more like sound cards. So basically, think of a lot of these devices as just basically a sound card for your computer. They're maybe a little fancier because they have some of them have key-in circuits that will key your radio. So like this one would go in. The Signal Link was one of the early on big ones that was heavily used quite a bit. So you have your Signal Links, and basically it creates a sound card on your computer, and then that sound card then basically is just another way for your computer to send that data out. And it also keys the radio. I will say not all of them do, but a new one that's in the market now that's pretty popular is this DigiRig. A lot of people like that because of the basically, you can see the size comparison, something like this. And I like it because it does have the key-in circuit in there. Let's see if I can get that a little better view. You have two plugs. One is for audio, and the other one's for serial. Serial being how it keys controls. Man, this is upside down. And control the radio. So you have two different plugs that you can use, and they actually have a newer version of this that's a lot smaller. I think they call it the Mini. So that's another option. Uh, these are what we would use for HFs, these two devices. And West Mountain has one. I forgot I've got one of those in the back somewhere. And it's a pretty nice unit. So that's West Mountain if you're into Googling that. But it actually has a microphone input, so you could talk into it. It has like an A and B switch. So back in the day, our radios only had one input. Something else too is, now a lot of these newer radios even have the sound card built in. So, for example, let me show you this one here. Right on the back is a USB port right there. And so the modem is actually built in, the sound card is built into the radios. Those, when they're like that, is a lot nicer. This is a Yaesu FT991. So it just takes that one data cable, a USB cable going into your computer. So it's a little nicer that way. If you can do that, that's probably the preferred way. A lot of I think the 7300, Jim, your 7300 has it built in. Is that right? I caught him off guard. I
I
believe,
don't have I don't have a 7300 myself. I've got an 891. It does not have a sound card built into it.
I know, either of you,
DigiRig makes a deal for the 891.
891. Yeah, that,
Digi rig, yeah.
yeah. So those, oh, and that's a good point too, Dave. Thanks for saying that. A lot of these cables you can hit the wrong one. Let's go here. A lot of these you can get different cables per radio manufacturer. So when you order the device, you also need to order the matching, interface cable for your radio. So for like this one is a Yaesu handheld radio. Um, this one that's on this one is used for a FTDX Yaesu 1200, one of the bigger DINs. Um, Now that's for HF. And if we want to get into some VHF, UHF, let me show you a couple others. This is something that I'd played with here a while back. It's BTEC makes it. And I think it was like 30 to 40 bucks.
Oh,
And it's an APRS-K1 Pro. And don't let the APRS scare you on there because it actually will do other modes. But it is geared for your HTs. This does not, it does have a key and circuit for some of them, but for the most part, you have to run the radio in Vox mode. So you're using these. This is the cable that it comes with is made for like the BTEX, any of the Baofengs. It just happens to also be for a Kenwood. So it just goes into the headphone and speaker jack like so. And this particular model will run on USB-C. So sometimes I'll use this with my phone and just plug it in. And on the iOS and Android, there's actually some apps that run um, like for example, Radio Mail is one of the apps that it'll run, and I can actually send Winlink messages through this through my VHF UHF. One key thing is most of these programs will actually show you a list of stations available in your area. So, and that's horrible on the screen, but this is basically stations and it tells the frequency that they're on and they're monitoring. So we have one here on UHF and it works pretty good. It covers most of the area. The next closest one is N9 SEO, and he's on VHF and HF. And then there's, but basically these apps will list all the different modes that they're on. Anyways, so that's now this, you have to turn the radio to Vox mode to make that work. But it does work. I would say it's probably not, I was going to say it's not the most stable, but it is. Just because you're having to run it in Vox. If you had a key in circuit, but a lot of the ones that are built for VHF, UHF don't have the key in circuit. Now you could do the DigiRig, and it has the key in circuit in it, but you would just have to make sure that you get the cable matched per your radio. So the price difference between something like this, you're probably talking $100 difference between the two. Now we even get pull that aside for you. This is something that just came out that I'm liking so far, and this is the BTEC UV Pro. The nice thing about it is it does Bluetooth from here to my phone, so I can actually, do the radio mail program, which is the Winlink program, Bluetooth to my phone, and then I just put it to the, it actually in the program. I have it set to go to, because it knows the frequency, it knows the call sign. It sends that to the radio and automatically change the frequency. That radio, I think, is like 140 or something like that. So uh, a lot of us are excited about that. It does do APRS standalone as well, but most of the time when you hear people talking about WinLink, everybody thinks HF, and that's kind of where its backbone is. Some of the best features of that. Uh, but what we're building is if you have a local gateway, and the thought with that, especially if we're doing emergency response here, and we're including that in our conversation, is if we're like we're sending crews out. Let's just use our town here as an example. It gets hit or something and we have somebody at Cox Branson. Maybe we send somebody to the fire department at the EOC down there. Maybe we send somebody to another, over in Kimberling City with N0LVG. Well, instead of having a bunch of HF rigs set up, you could actually have a gateway set up and everybody send through VHF, UHF to that gateway, and then it relays out. And then you may want to dedicate your, instead of Jim over in Kimberly City tying up his HF for, uh, doing Winlink, he could actually send it on UHF and keep his HF monitoring, an emergency voice net or something like that. So in those gateways, and a gateway, we'll get into that, but it's basically anything that takes VHF, UHF, or HF, and it relays it out to the WinLink network. They call it a CMS. It's basically a mail server. So when you send an email on VHF, UHF, or HF, it goes to the CMS, and we can get into that here in the laptop shortly. And that'll show you, it takes that email, sends it out, and then relays it back. So,
Clayton, quick question.
yes, sir.
So when you're doing WinLink, let's say on UHF, VHF, that's a simplex node, or
Yes,
can it go through a repeater?
Yeah, you could actually make it go through a repeater. I mean, obviously, the repeater owner would want to approve that, but that is something you could do. You would have to maybe give a little extra delay in the settings, so when it keys up, it gives time for that repeater to key up. But yeah, I've heard people do it through like even APRS. Back probably, man, how long ago was that? Maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I actually heard somebody send an APRS on the 195. This is back when the coax on the 195 was going bad, just to kind of give the older people that's been here a little longer than me an idea when that was. So the coax was going bad on the repeater, but there was somebody transmitting packet burst on there every few seconds. And of course, I knew I'd heard that tone, and I knew it was probably APRS beaking its position. So I took my APRS radio, tuned it to the 195, was able to decode the guy's position, figured out who he was. Then I went to aprs.fi to see the local activity, and I found his call sign on there. Was able to zoom in on his position. He was a guy visiting town, and he was staying over at Treasure Lake, so he was in an RV over there. So I pull over there. I'm like, I was able to pinpoint exactly where he was, and I knocked on his door. I said, and if I saw the antenna, I said, "You happen to be a ham, right?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Just so you know, you're beaconing on the APRS." I said, "Just happens to be on the repeater." So he was able to remedy that. But yeah, most of the stuff you could send through. Now, I will say the duty cycle may be a little bit more, but on VHF, UHF, they're pretty short. So you're not sending a lot of, not like on HF where it's 300 baud or 500 baud. On HF, you're sending VHF, UHF, you can go up to 9,600 baud. What we're doing here is 1,200.
So in the event that we'd had to go to simplex, and like obviously we're limited to a radius, would that bounce from radio to radio?
That's more of a digipeater mode that they have for that. But for the most part, what you're doing is operating everything in that confined area. So you would want to do as much ground wave as you can. But let's say we have a station at the hospital, station, like we said in our scenario, you would want that relay or the gateway to be where it hopefully is centrally located and can hear everything. And then it will hear that. Now, there's nothing saying that you could have multiple gateways. In WinLink, gateway is basically a term for an HF to an HF radio, basically. And it's a gateway is somebody that can take the local information and send it to either, and on my tri mode, that it's as gateways, you have a program called tri mode, and it can take different bands in. So if I got a email on VHF, but my internet was down here locally, then it's set to forward that out over HF and try all these different HF nodes that's on the WinLink map and relay that information out. And you can also set it as just a store until internet's reserved. But so the idea is you could essentially not even really be a gateway. You could be a WinLink user and just operate on HF, and you yourself send that message out directly to the United States network. Let me show you that map too to kind of give you an idea what that looks like. So winlink.org is the place where you go to get a lot of this information. I do encourage everybody to go ahead and, for those of you that were on early, come over here to download. So that's winlink.org, winlink.org. And even if you don't have a router, you don't have a signal link, you don't have a digirig, you don't have any of the radio stuff yet, you can still participate because they do have a telnet feature. So you would come to download, and then in this situation, we're user programs, which is the middle user programs, because we're all going to be basically end users. And then now these are different software that you can use with it. But the one that's pretty much the most popular and everybody uses is Winlink Express. It's the bottom option. And so you'll want to download that. If you do have a sound card interface, you have either a digirig or a signal link, you may want to go ahead and download Vara products. And you can do it over FM or you can do HF. HF is what I like to do with Vara. And think of Vara as just a modem. So you have modes like FT8 is a mode. Uh, you have APRS on HF, that's a mode, 300 baud. You have Olivia, that's a mode. So Vara is just another mode. And when I say mode, it's kind of like saying FM versus AM versus sideband. So it's just a different mode of sending that. But if you want to go ahead and download WinLink Express and go ahead and install that, on the main page of winlink.org, there's some tools. The next one is tools. It's a little bar here, a little menu. This is going to show you the the map basically of all the, and this is live too as we speak. So when you're looking at it, I'm just going to come in here to our side, see if I can get in a little closer. Now, when you're at this, at the very top, you can see there's packet mode in these little radio dots. You have PACTOR, robust packet, RDOP, which isn't used hardly anymore. Then you have Vara and then Vara FM. So in this case, let's say we want to do packet. And if you're trying to find a station that is doing packet and maybe you're traveling or something like that, you're at a motel, this is going to go out and try to find any stations. So if you went to Denver, there's plenty of, Vara FM up there. So all you got to do is zoom in to your area. You can find out who's got it, where they're at. And as you hover over and click it, tells you the frequency, where it's located, the kind of antenna, and the mode. So then you just put that in. Now, a lot of and we'll show you when we get into WinLink, a lot of this is already in there. But now if you are off grid, you may want to keep downloading, keep your WinLink up to date in case you lose internet, because then you can pull. But now let's go HF side. So that's just the VHF side. So Vara is the other mode. Now this is HF, and I honestly, when Denny, I don't see him on K5DCC down in Omaha, Arkansas. He and I worked NVIS on 40 meter before, and that's just like from, just what is that, about 40 miles. And I really feel like we could cover this whole region right here just off of NVIS on 40 meters. During the daytime, 40's real short like that, so you get away with it a lot easier. But so that's just one of the tools you can look at. But let's jump over here. And once you download WinLink, it's going to look something similar to this. Now, you are going to have a settings page, and it should have populated that when you first, logged in there. But just to give you an idea of what you want to do is you want to put your call sign. It's going to ask you for a password. If this is your first time into WinLink, this is actually how you create your account. So you're going to create a password, and they are going to want you to put a password recovery email in there. You definitely want to do that. it's got auxiliary call signs and tactical addresses. We're going to create some of those for our events and training nets. You can put your address, phone number, and stuff like that in there. And there's a couple other options down here. I pretty much leave all that defaulted. So once you get that created, now it's pretty much just like a regular email program. And this is something we're all pretty familiar with. You have your inbox, you have your read box, your outbox, saved items. But your new message is right here on the left. It's right underneath my call signs. Also, I'll go ahead and tell you this, but there's some other stuff you can come through and change in here, but we're not going to worry about that. GPS position, you have Winlink catalog requests, and we're going to get in a lot of, especially the forms, we'll get into that a lot later, showing you why it's so popular. But basically, if you guys want to just start a new message, and we're just going to do this over Telnet. So don't worry about if you don't have a radio, because the way you create a new account on Winlink, and Clint, this may fix that bounce that you guys got. There's a couple of you guys that got a bounce on the from Google there or something. But this is how you create an account with Winlink. Basically, you created that email, your username, and that password, and then if you want to, let's go ahead and do check in again. So let's do KB0WZI. Now, if it's a user that for sure is on Winlink, you don't even have to put the at winlink.org, but you can if you want. Winlink.org. Subject, you could just say check in, and we just put telnet, something like that. And then and I will go ahead and say this, not that we have any problems with it, but the rules do apply on these emails, just like it does, like if you're on the repeater. We can't send business emails. We can't have any language or anything like that on there. So it's pretty much just similar rules to what we do. All that stuff goes here. As a sysop for a gateway, I'm responsible to go through. Actually, I could show you the backside. All the sysops can see all the emails going through. So, and it is on us to monitor just to make sure nobody's doing, something they're not supposed to be doing. So I'm just going to put test here. You can do whatever. We're not going to do it yet, but I do want to show you some of the attachments you can do. You can add a picture, some stuff like that. If it's a large picture, I would definitely do one that's real dumbed down. But you could actually send a picture or something low grade. Not one of Steve's high end photos or anything like that. They do have templates, and this is where a lot of the people like the templates that come in. So ICS, they have all the ICS forms. So, if I wanted to do just an ICS general message, I could do ICS 213. What it does is opens up your web browser. And then, we could come in here. We're going to say this is an exercise. You could put a number for your incident. This is to who it's going to. So we could say Jim from James, subject hospital, good, something, obviously I'm just coming, you automatically click there on the date and it'll autofill that for you, auto populate. Message. I'm just going to put some gibberish, approved by gibberish, position and title gibberish, and then you can submit that. So what happens is that populates into this message. Now, this is how it's sent, but when they receive it, if they have WinLink, for example, when they receive it, it populates into that real pretty form that we just saw. So now I'm going to send it as a WinLink message. You have radio only, you have peer-to-peer. Peer-to-peer means if I'm just going to connect to Bobby N0MLK, and I'm not going to go through the gateways or anything like that, then I'm going to select it as peer-to-peer. But pretty much you want it to go through the system. So WinLink message, and then you just hit post to outbox. It does have spell check and all that, which is probably good for somebody like me, but So I'm going to post that to Outbox. You can see it sitting over here in the Outbox now, and it's ready to send. So to send emails, there's multiple ways. Right now, and I'm looking over here at Open Session, we have Telnet, which we're all going to use right now. And basically, Telnet's just an old-fashioned internet connection type setup. You have Packet, you have Pactor. These are some of the different modems that it could use. Then these are all going through the Winlink system. The next section is going peer-to-peer. Peer-to-peer meaning direct. I'm not going to go through the Winlink system. So I would do that. And then you would have to make sure they were on that same frequency at the same time. Then you have some other radio onlys. But basically, what I'm going to do is select Telnet Winlink. And then now you're ready to send. So you're going to hit Open Session. And this is going to go really quick. It's just going to go through, and I'm going to hit Start. And as soon as it goes, it's just pretty much going to do its thing. Connecting to an SMS. It's already done. And I've got one net check-in. It also sent and received at the same time. Now, just seeing some of the stuff here, it shows this is the information to log in, which one it checked into, sent, and it said receiving 2 emails.
Clayton, where was that open session at? I was looking at my other screen.
Yep. So it's right here when you're on the main one. It's
Okay.
right next to that Telnet Winlink. And now you're going to want to do that a couple times because the first time's really just getting your account created. So you may run through here, hit send again. And I mean, it goes real quick on there. So I got Jim's check-in up and running, RFM. Just need some antennas, which I think we can help you with that. We got some wires hanging around. You could. So I'm going to let you guys do that. If anybody's hung up on anything, just say holler out or whatever. If you need to raise your antenna, your little hand thing on there. We can share screen. Like if anybody's having trouble, you can share your screen and we can pull it up and kind of walk you through it that way too. Which is kind of the main idea with Zoom is everybody sharing their screens if we need to, and just everybody making sure everybody gets what they need.
Mine
So I'm
keeps
gonna
saying in the session or message sent 0.
Did you create a new email over here? So new message. So I'm gonna test. I'm just gonna let's see. I'm gonna see who's up there in 0MLK. I'm just gonna test this. Yeah. Just to see if I get to go through. So sending it, everything's pretty much default. I'm gonna hit post out box. And then I want to select Telnet Winlink and then open session. And then as soon as it turns black there, start. So I'm getting a couple others from you guys. So I've got KF0JFW.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
And then I've got KE6GAE check-in. So good job. So now, just so you guys know that you now have a Winlink email address. That is your call sign at winlink.org. I'm not sure why the other ones didn't, why it bounced. And you can, oh, you know what? They have a setup on there. I just remembered that. I should have had you hit / on the subject line // WIN WLK2. I need to look that up for next week. So that's why you guys bounced. Just checked again. Some people will just leave this running, and you can set this up on the telnet settings. I got KF0OUQ sent a message there, checked in. So under this telnet, I'm going to go to settings. You can actually set it to auto connect time. So you can have it, automatic. You can have it every 30 minutes. The nice thing about using Telnet is, especially, and then just hit update after that. You can do polling time. So you could actually use this as a full-blown email server in the background, basically. But the nice thing about Telnet is if there is a grid down situation going on or something like that, you can use the telnet while the grid's up, not tying up the network, the HF network. You'll see ARRL and some of those agencies put out messages about not using, trying not to use the main system like during North Carolina, during Florida, and stuff like that. So if there is a big system going or emergency going on, so I'm gonna check another one here. Just send it, and then you can hit exit there, and I've got KF0 JFW, KF0 OUQ. Does anybody else have any trouble or anything like that? It's looking good. Is
Have you received anything from me?
that Bobby? Let's see.
Yeah,
Keep sending here.
because it says it's sent. One is sent finally.
You know what's funny is I have mine's still showing outbox here. No, they just cleared there. Yeah, so if it says sent, then it definitely went. So it is like ours. If it stays in the outbox, then something happened to it. So I'm gonna keep checking here.
I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah, maybe just creating your account.
See, that time nothing's sent.
Clayton, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Uh, I kind of fell behind because I was creating my account on here while you were still talking, and I kind of
Yeah,
fell
no
behind.
worries. No worries.
After I did to create an email, and then I just got your KB0WZI in there and subject check-in. Do I need to post the outbox? Is that the next step?
Yep.
Or?
Yep, that's right. So you'd come here, and I'm gonna go ahead and send one to let's see, what is that? N5 VVV? I keep
Yeah.
forgetting the first of it. And I'm gonna Bobby, you might try winlink.org, see if that makes it.
I have in my sent items. I have one sent to you.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead. And so I'm gonna post that to well, let me go ahead and add some more. So this should
Hey,
go to
Clayton,
YouTube.
I gotta go.
Okay.
I gotta get to bed.
All right, Bobby. You have a good night. Thanks for checking in with us, man.
Yeah, we'll see you later.
See you guys. And then so I'm posting that to Outbox Clint. So that's in the Outbox there. And I see it's got number 1 there. So now I'm going to turn my session up here. I'm going to make sure it says Telnet Winlink, which is usually the default.
Okay, just a second. I'm not seeing that on mine.
So it's right
Okay,
up
yeah, I
here at
see
the
it.
top.
Yeah, I see it now.
And then so just verify it says Telnet Winlink. And then I'm going to hit open session.
Okay.
And then once it's open, that session, you're going to hit you want to make sure it says radio. Obviously, if you don't have internet or something on that machine, it may give you an error code, but then you'll just hit start. And then down here at the bottom, it says it'll let you know sent 1 message. And then it says, I did receive a message sent 1. And still not seeing a receive. So, and I can hit send again. Just
Okay,
keep
and
doing that.
I just sent to you.
Yeah, and I show message received 1. So right down here.
Okay.
Let's see, that's from.
Okay, I see. Oh,
Yeah, I got yours, Clint.
okay. I'm not showing anything in my inbox. Yeah.
So you'll want to do it again because sometimes when you're sending, I've noticed you have to send again, especially if you're doing like some of the things you can request from here is like you could send your GPS position. You can send different like weather requests and it'll give you weather reports for your area. And I'll show you some of that you can play with. So you may have to send again. It may have errored on my account if your account wasn't created yet. So I may go ahead and just send another one to you just as a test. This would be test 22.
Okay, I'm seeing something in the inbox now.
Cool. Open session.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, good.
Did you get mine?
I got one check-in from you. Yep.
Okay.
And so it says sent. So you should have another one when you log in again. And so this is basically what you would be doing on whether it's VHF or HF. And my actually looks like it hung up there for a second. So what a lot of guys are doing on there, you could come here to your create a new email. Yeah. Hold on here just a little bit. So not only do you have templates you could download, but you can also do like they have weather reports, weather forms. There's one that says net check-ins. Let me see if I can find that. And you can create your favorites here too. Like you have female. These are just different forms that you can use. This one here that says mapping and GIS forms, something new that they're doing. Basically, if you do that, like it says Winlink check-in, when you create that, it's going to also put your position on there. And then once that sends, that net control will can pull all those position reports up on a map. And then everybody will see that net control can see all the stations located on a map who's checked in. So it's kind of a nice feature. We will get into that a little bit more once we're there. But and some other things you could do if you were not going to hurt anything by playing around in here. So I'm going to close that one. There's some forms and stuff that you can also different weather positions and stuff like that you can request. When you do HF, you can do propagation calculation, so it'll help you identify different stations that you should be able to connect to. Winlink catalog request, that's a fun one to play with. Now it's been more than 60 days since the catalog list has been upgrading. Would you like to update it? Somebody hit yes, and it's already done. Now these are some of the fun things. So again, this is under setting. Let me go back here. It's under settings and Winlink catalog request. So these are some fun ones. I would do these mainly on Telnet, but like you can do satellite pictures and find your area. So I'm just going to pick one. Actually, Gulf states here. We'll do that one. Now, maritimers and people like that use this a lot. So I'm just going to post that request. I was going to delete that one, but let's go ahead and delete that one. I'm going to post that. Now that's in the outbox. So even though I've got that, I need to send it. So I'm going to send that. Now these will send pretty quick, and I did receive 2 more emails here. So we'll see who's. But now it doesn't download that request. I want to give it just a few seconds to get that. So VVV didn't like that for some reason. I got KF0Z IZP got you checked in. So now I'm going to see if those maps are coming in. Send that. Not yet. So sometimes it takes a few minutes to process those maps. But basically, Winlink's real popular, like with the maritimers and stuff like that. They're out on the ocean. A lot of places they don't have cell phones. So yeah, there is one of those catalog requests that you could do, like it says like AP News or something like that, or it's been a while since I played with that, but let's just say you're completely off grid out there. There's a way to get some of that information like that. So it's real popular. Let's try it again. Just going to try to show you what one looked like. But for the most part, that's what you can expect with Winlink. It's basically you could do peer-to-peer this way, but it's sending emails. You could do position reports. You could do net check-ins, ICS forms, and those forms is where why a lot of like your incident commands, your FEMA, a lot of those agencies love Winlink because of those forms. You could do sit rep reports, situation reports, a lot of those, and you can even do custom forms if you know how to build HTML and stuff like that. You can do some custom. So looks like I've got another Winlink check-in JFW, and then also I've got those two inquiries. So let me show you what that looks like. So scroll down.
I did a
And it's
check-in form.
a check-in form. Yeah, I was
Clayton.
gonna say it looked a lot cleaner. So yeah, there you go. Nice. Yeah, that looks really clean. So next week we may do that versus, and it does, have options like how did you check in? Do you have band, session telnet, service amateur? Yep. Nice. That's good and clean. So these forms is what really makes it really popular. Fill a bunch of that. And then to do your attachments, so these have attachments on them, these inquiries. I'm just going to double click this little icon here, single click it. And so this is the picture that it downloaded. Now, of course, AI is trying to get involved with AI. Winlink's taking AI is taking over. Just gonna see if I could see the size of this picture just for an idea. So it's a 678 by 678. So that's one of them. Let's see what this one is. So receiving something like that on HF is going to take a minute to download. So they don't really recommend it too much. But like if you're out there and you just need it, you just go right ahead. So we can see Springfield lit up there on the map. Down here in the Gulf of America, I guess as it is now. And so that's just some of the stuff you could do with it. We're going to get in. The main thing is learning how to basic send an email. If you guys want to test during the week, as long as you're using Telnet, you're really not going to tie up the system that much. So open session Telnet, and then you can just send and receive. And that's pretty much the gist of it. If you do happen to have like one of these interfaces or signaling, or if your radio has it, the input automatically in the back, you can do a lot of this over UHF. I do have that local one on UHF. If you want to do some testing, anything like that, feel free to reach out. I try to check mine. Let me just show you too. Let's see. So
Your VHF simplex, right?
the UHF, yeah, it's
The
simplex.
UHF, okay, yeah.
And it works really well. I'm surprised. I'm up on B Creek, so I'm a little higher. Without the trees in the fall, I can see in the winter I could see the horizon quite a bit, and so I've got a pretty good vantage in that sense. But you could use WinLink on what is it called, Radio Mail. You do have to pay for it. I can't remember, what it was like 5 something or for the app to download. The only problem with that also is if you want forms, like if you're doing ICS. So my thought was you'll see me carrying this a lot of times. So I can do even though I can do Telnet through here, it's fun doing this over radio. So I'm Bluetooth to my radio, see if I'm in coverage. I checked my email there at breakfast last week, just from the Wendy's. So I can send through there. And it's pretty good coverage. Also, Android has one, and it's WOAD. I don't know what in the world it stands for, WOAD. And that one you can also do Bluetooth, or you can do. I use this APRS cable on that one, and I do it through there. It's a paid one also. I want to say it was like one of them was $14, one of them, but that's a lifetime. But then once you have it, my thought was you could use that to, like, if you're deployed or something like that, we do try to do much of that on UHF, leaving our VHF freed up so we can talk on 2 meter repeater. Maybe there's a net going on. We can send information. If we are out like at a field day setup, we could actually set up our HF station and send that way. Um, I think just about every radio I've owned will interface no problem at all. I can't think of any issues. I will say if you're working on HF, you probably don't want to go 100 watts on it. Most digital, they recommend backing that back just a little bit because it is full duty cycle. It's, that radio's keyed up, transmitting full power, unlike sideband. So you definitely want to be careful not to, overdo it too much there. I usually run like 60 watts or something like that, I think, on there. Anybody else have any questions? Feel free to send emails during the week and we'll do some more next week. We'll go a little step further. Does anybody have a like a signal link or anything that they haven't set up? One of the sound or DigiRig that maybe they just haven't set it up and tested with it yet or something. Or if you get one, you're having trouble setting it up or something, just let me know and we can
Hey,
help
can
you.
you send some links to where we could get those, like maybe for the Bofang radios or something? I mean, because I've got an older Bofang radio, I think I could probably use
Mhm.
that I don't really use much. Like those Kenwood plugs and the setup you'd need.
Yeah, so that APRS-K1, this one here you can get on Amazon. So
Okay.
you would just want to type that APRS K1 dash Pro or APRS dash K1 Pro. I think I was showing it to Bobby the other day.
Can you
Just
send it out in the email or whatever just so we
sure.
can have the link? I'll forget. It's almost bedtime.
You know what I may do is just send it as a Winlink message. Is that all right too?
Perfect.
Yeah, they do show another one on here. It's a
Now, if I close my WinLink out and then I open it back up, will it populate it?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so it'll store for a bit.
Yeah, just remember what password you use to create your account because it may ask you for that. On Amazon, they do show an APRS K1. It's not the Pro, but I'm actually don't see any of the Pros on there now. I can't tell you for sure the K1 without the Pro works. I've got one. I'll do some testing. It's the reason I'm saying that is because it's like a tip ring sleeve, and I've got to remember what I was doing with that. So I'm lying to you about Amazon because I'm not seeing any on Amazon. So let's go back here. So yeah, we'll find something and send it out there. Let's see what pull up APRS K1 Pro. And see, it's still trying to take me at Amazon there, so that's what's weird. But you can get that from B Tech there. They have it. And let's just check the price. Yeah, 34. But you'll set the radio to Vox, and this side is a USB-C. So like my new phone has USB-C, and one of my devices doesn't have a USB-C, so that wouldn't work for me on that. I mean, we'll send that out. Actually, I can't send it over WinLink because I don't know if that's not constituting as business because I'm not making money on it. So let me send that to you over WinLink. One of these buttons up here is reply to message. And then once you post it, just remember to open session. All right. And I didn't get anything new there, so I think we're good to go. Well, I appreciate y'all checking in and everything. It's a lot of now. The thing is, once you do like the Signal Link, if you do the DigiRig, once you have that, or if your radio already has it, the HF like the 991As, and I mean most newer, it almost seems like almost that 705, that portable QRP radio, it's Bluetooth. So a lot of them are starting to even go that route. So as you're maybe you already have a radio that has that, um, but just know that like the Signal Link or the DigiRig, that will also help you like when you go to do FT8, any of the other digital modes on HF. So that's basically the interface that you have to get, something like that to, and also make sure you're always using these cables. Let me go here see if we can see that a little better. These cables like this that have that the ferrite chokes on there, you'll always want to make sure you use that cable because that filters any RF from getting back into your USB. So make sure you always use. They come with that too most of the time. So, anyways, if there's no other questions, I'm gonna shut us down. Well, I'm going to pass this video on to the club. So if you guys want to replay any of it or anything like that, I did get a couple texts from some people that were trying to get logged in. They were struggling with some logging in there. So we'll send that out, make it available. But appreciate you guys jumping in there, and these are all skills that we'll be able to use not only just for the exercise, but Lord forbid any kind of emergency comes up or anything like that. But it's good to have it now and know how it works and everything instead of trying to figure it out. So, and if you guys get any questions or anything like that, feel free to shoot me an email. Winlink.org there's works good. Should be able to send. I think you can send it. A long time ago we used to just put the call sign. So, but I think that you should be able to do that. Send me an email if you have any net ideas like digital modes that you've been wondering about, stuff like that too. We'll keep training with it. So appreciate you guys.